everyone, my name is Katie and welcome to my Greenland Quilter channel. I hope everyone is having a lovely day. Today I have John here with Guys Quilt 2. He's going to be joining me for sewing. And then, so let's go ahead, John, and tell us about yourself, a little bit about yourself, and tell us about your channel and when you go live and whatever you want to share about your channel.
Awesome. Hey, crafters, thanks for joining us today. I am John, Guys Craft 2, as you know, and I like to think of myself as a newbie, right? So I like to tell folks if I can figure out how to make this work and make things happen, that's really what my channel is about. Typically, I am live on 4 o'clock on Arizona time, which is 7 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday evening. So for me, it's Sunday afternoon, but for those East Coasters, it's Sunday evening. So just working on different projects in that, you'll see that I do have some favorite things that I like to work on and some favorite groups, but at the end of the day, just doing what I like and what appeals to me and giving my utmost and honest feedback about stuff.
I think that's great. So have you told them what you're working on?
I have not. So tonight,
Here, let me pin you so you can show them. Hold on.
All right.
Let's pin you. Okay, now.
So I am working on yet another Villa Rosa design called Gold Medal. And so this one, believe it or not, because I bought this at a kit and decided I would work on it today, is actually got some really pretty florals in that in it.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
So I'm anxious to kind of get this put together. If you follow my channel at all, you know I tend to be a Villa Rosa person, but they just go together so quick in that. But I've done a lot of Halloween, Christmas lately, so I felt like I needed to stop that a little bit and do something a little different.
That's great. Okay, I'm going to say hello to everybody in the chat. Hello, Lori. Andrea's here. Hello, Judy. Hi, Deb S. Deb S got here first today. And hello, Judy Neighbors. And hi, Donnell. How you doing? Okay, so I am going to work on a stitchit kit. But before I start the sewing of this, let me try that again. I am using pre-cuts from a stitchit kit, and I'm building a block out of it. And I'll show you the block when it's finished. So you're going to see me sewing it, but I'm going to kind of keep it secret till it comes together. But I am going to take you over to where the Stitchit webpage is, and we're going to walk through it so you know how to get there. And if I miss Shelby, hi, I must not have seen her, and looks like someone, yeah, okay. So let's share the screen, and we'll get this done real quick. And no, I'm not a ambassador for the Stitchit kit. I just wanted to show you where to go in case once you see the block, you're like, oh, I really like that. And they had uploaded some new kits on the 15th, so some of them might not be sold out. But while we're there, we'll see if any's been sold out or if they still have all of them open where you can buy them. So let's go there now. And all you got to do is go to Cotton Cuts, and they'll show you where to find it at. If you go over here to it says Learn More, you're going to click on Stitchit. And then it's going to take you here, and it'll say Meet Stitchit. And down here, it tells you how it works. You have 3 sizes that you can buy. You can buy the Super, which has over 400 pieces for $55. A Mini for $35 with 250 pieces. The Quick one is 150 pieces for $20. The fabric will change monthly. So on the 15th of every month, they will upload a new set of stitches. So before we go over to the shop so you can have a look, I want you to check this out. I think this is worth showing you guys. Look at all the things that people have created from a stitchit kit. So they have took the time to share those that have sent them pictures, and look at all these pretty blocks. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes, I can. Hey, so Katie, with the stitchit kit, they're all pre-cut pieces?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't come with a pattern or anything. You just you're the designer. You just have the pre-cuts already done, so you'll get 3 or 4 different sizes of half triangles. You'll get some rectangles, some squares. Sometimes some of them will have longer rectangles, or maybe they'll have 3 different sizes of rectangles. It just depends on the size of the kit. On the large ones, you get several different sizes of it. So it's really, all you have to do is just design it yourself.
Interesting.
And what I've been doing is I've been having a little fun experimenting with this particular color that you're going to see me working with soon. And I've been taking the Cotton Cuts color challenge blocks, and I've been playing with the stitchit kit with all the different cards that I've got. And I've been having fun just making random blocks from one of, out of each of these cards. So you see, I have one right here that she showed up here. I made this, I think, back in either January or February, I believe.
Okay. So where'd you get your cards?
Huh?
Where'd the card come from?
The cards will come inside of a PMQ.
Okay.
Or if you're a long-standing subscriber of, well, me, I've had the Classic Cut box for a long time. So every month when you get a subscription box, you also get one of these cards. And so I'll try to remind myself to go get all of them gathered up together. My stack is this high.
No way.
Yes. I've been getting the Classic Cut box since 2018, and I've been doing the PMQ since the spring of 2019. And so these stack up. So someone's going to say, well, what are you going to do with all those cards? Oh, I have a plan. I think I'm going to put because it seems like some of the blocks keep repeating themselves every year, but they just do it at a different time. And I'm thinking what I want to do is take all of the extras I have, put them into small sets of bundles, and then give them away to members that are in the, the subscribers. Do like a drawing, and everybody who's interested in receiving a small little bundle of cards, and then I'm just going to give them away.
Oh, that'd be so neat. That's a cool idea. So do some of the PMQ cards line up then with the shapes that they're cutting that come in the stitchit?
Yes. I mean, you literally can take the blocks. Here, let me be right back. I'm going to go get a kit because I left it in the bedroom. Hold on.
See, that's a fun thing when we do a live, guys, because she never knows what someone's going to ask her to do. But Katie's so flexible. See, she just jumps up and goes, okay, let me go get it to answer what this poor guy keeps asking me. But that's okay. That's why you have both of us today. Hey, Danielle, welcome in. I saw you pop up on the chat a few minutes ago.
Ian's here?
No, Danielle's here.
Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you a different kit so that I know this one was a large kit. I'm trying to think if this other one is too. I think it is. I'll show you a large kit.
Is that what you've been ordering, Katie, is the large ones?
Yeah, I like the large one because I can play with it. I mean, I might not necessarily I don't really have anything in mind when I first get them. I just start messing around. Like this is a small, hang on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, let me unshare the screen and we'll go back to this in a minute so I can show you what I'm talking about.
Sorry, I'm such a problem, aren't I?
No, I just need to remember. I just remember, oh, well, I'm sitting here running my mouth and nobody can see anything. Okay. All right. So the kit that I'm currently messing around with, that I've been playing with on and off this over the last few months, I bought it as a large. I happen to have a batik large, and I'll show you everything that actually come in it because I've used so much out of the other one, it's hard to share all of it. So what comes in a kit for a large is you get different colors of the colorway, and you get small triangles.
Okay. And
then there's some more of this, and then there's blue triangles, and I think I might have shared this before, I'm not sure. So you get different, then you get medium-sized triangles. You get several of those. So let me show you how many I got of these. So now I have 4 of these, 4 different colors.
Oh, wow.
So those are the medium ones.
I really like that one under the green. It's almost like a rainbow looking.
Yeah, this one with the flower on it. Hang on.
Yeah, isn't that
This
pretty?
one? Yeah, I
Yeah.
love this kit. So yeah, you have blue.
Mhm.
And it's interesting. I happen to have fat quarters in that one.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I also have this one. I'll have to go through my stuff and look. You have red,
Nice.
green,
Oh,
and this is a nice color green. It's not one of those icky greens.
right.
And here's some more of the smalls, because this came with 2 little boxes to match up. So you have each thing, like these bigger triangles, you have the same thing in the small triangles. Then
Okay.
you get, see what I mean about more?
Mm-hmm.
So you get, it's very generous. You can make a really big quilt if you're, if you know what block you're gonna make. All right, so let me show you the big triangles, and then we'll get on with the rectangles. So you have big triangles, but now the bigger triangles you don't get as many of, but it's still plenty to accomplish what it, like if you want to make a square to square, you could do that with that. You got blue, red, and
Wow.
then you get different sizes of rectangles here. So you have long ones.
Nice. Because that really shows that fabric off now.
Yeah, you can really see it. And so all 4 of those colors have the long rectangles. Then you get a shorter set of triangles, I believe. I mean, rectangles, sorry. And then these are 6.5 inches long. The smaller rectangle. I'm trying to open it so I don't lose anything. Yeah, see? So you have shorter ones,
Okay.
all in those colors, and then you get squares. And these are 3.5 on these squares. So all you got to do is decide. Sometimes I can look at a picture and I'll say, okay, if I wanted to make a block that had, determine what the very centerpiece will be. So if you say we want to use 2.5 inch for the center block, then everything around it can fit in the 2.5 inch if you do it like that. Because this whole block I'm working on right now, you can visually look at it and have an understanding of how you would, make the block.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's and with these cards, which kind of I find interesting, it tells you here what size you can make. So if you're wanting to figure out, well, what about all these half triangles? How do I know that they will go with the measurements they have on this block?
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is take 2 of them, and I'm sure someone's going to say they have a different way of doing it, and I just lay them side to side, the diagonal to diagonal, and I take a ruler, and basically the smallest one, these small ones, will, before they cut them in half, would have been 3 7/8. And on here, like this block I'm working on, it says cut six squares, 3 7/8. Then it tells you to cut it down the center. So you already have it done because the pre-cut's been done that way. If you want to make the block bigger, you can move up, do the bigger, and still come out with the same style block as this, only it'll be much bigger. And if you really want to go crazy, you could go to the really big ones. So
now, Katie, you ever go crazy like that?
No, not on the big ones yet. But I made that exploding star that Becca designed. The quilt. Remember, I sold the quilt or I got paid to make it. Right. That one had enormous half square triangles on it, and I thought, oh my gosh! But when you finished, it was so. I got that whole quilt top done, I think, within two weeks, maybe. Now I'm sure I could have finished it maybe in one day, but I get sidetracked very easy.
No.
Yeah, you know how it is.
I do.
You want to hear a funny thing, you guys? What happened? Well, it's not funny, but you might think it's funny. So I went to the store before because I needed to go to the store, make sure I went early enough so that I could get back here on time. I didn't want to be late. And I had taken my little pink the pink jacket, my QuiltCon jacket, and I had that on. And I hate using purses. I can't explain that, but as a horse person, you don't have time to drag purses around when you're riding a horse. And so I got in this habit of never carrying around a purse. And so I had my cell phone stuck in my pocket and my bank cards in my other pocket. Now, would I do that in the United States? No. But here it's okay. But I had my phone in my hand because I was translating a word that I didn't know the English version of. Stop. No. And while I was translating, then I just laid it down on top of the frozen food box. And I was looking at something in the box, and do you know what I did? I walked away and left my phone sitting there.
No way.
So when I got outside, I didn't know if I'd left it in Brucein or if I had left it in Pacific, because normally when I come out of Brucein, if I'm not going down to Pacific, I'll call a taxi then. But today I decided, well, I wanted some fresh grapes because my boss has set up away from, I'll talk about that in a minute. So I went from Brucein and I walked all the way down to Pacific and went in and got what I was after, come back out, and I was getting ready to call a taxi and went and reached in my pocket. Guess who didn't have her phone? So I didn't know if I left it upstairs or in there. So someone called a taxi for me, and we went all the way up to Brucein looking for it. Wasn't in Brucein. And then the taxi driver went in to help me, which was really nice. Wow. And he says, let me call it. And I said, well, if you hear it, you'll hear Guns N' Roses playing on it, because I had just changed my ringtone to Guns N' Roses because it's gotten where I can't really hear the regular ringtone when I'm in town or something. I just don't hear it ring, but I knew I would hear Guns N' Roses. And so no one heard it in Brucein. But the interesting happening was someone picked up my phone in Pacific and called the taxi driver back and says, is this your phone? Because it's been going on. So we went back down to the other store and got it, and he brought me home, and I got my phone back, and I was really happy about that. Mm-hmm. And I think we missed some people. Hi, Nancy.
Joy's on tonight.
Yep. Joy's here. Yep. Welcome, welcome. Did I miss anyone else?
It's 20 after, Katie.
Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, will you entertain while I go get that done? I'll be right back, guys.
So guys, welcome in. So I am working on gold medal, if you happen to tune in a little bit late. So I decided just to cut this kit up. It was a kit that I bought from Villa Rosa. It's really got, I don't know if to me, it's more fall than it would be springy or summer, but I just wanted to do something a little bit different. I've got a lot of Christmas quilts going. Lord, I've got 4 or 5 Halloween quilts done, so I was looking just to do something a little bit different.
Okay, so tomorrow I got a call from my boss today. Yesterday she told me I was going to do the tannery tomorrow again. Oh. And because we're getting a ship early in the morning, and but today she texted me and she says, I hate to do this to you, but the young man that I wanted to do the city tour doesn't know anything about the city tour. And I'm like, oh, great. And I said, how many groups is supposed to be going on the city tour? She said 3. And I told her, I said, look, I can't do 3 because y'all don't give me any break in between any of them. And the city tour is more strenuous than doing Great Greenland. And she says, let me get with Niall and let's see what we can figure out. So I thought they were going to take one tour off. But then she come back and she says, would this work? If I give you 30 minutes break in between each group, would that help you? I said, yes, because that means I can sit down, have a snack, hydrate because I seem to don't drink enough, and I think that's what's causing me to have nausea on the job.
Yep.
And it gives me a chance to just sit and eat and veg for 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and then I'll go fetch the next group and we'll go on about our business. So she's worked it out so that I have 30 minutes between each tour tomorrow. Because I
Katie,
told her I'm not getting younger anymore.
someone's not getting enough attention, I see.
You are a pain in the rump. You know that? All right, come here. I'll let you say hi to everybody.
That's all. They just want to say hi. Look at that. How adorable is that? Look at the tail wagging.
Do you know this tail hardly ever stops wagging? She is the happiest dog I have ever seen. Oh, but she's so big when you're trying to hold her because she can't be still.
Just needed her mama's attention for a minute.
Yeah, I have a feeling she wants to go outside, and I can't take her out right now. No, you're gonna have to wait.
We got too much going on.
Joy T says I should have negotiated for 45 minutes. Yeah, we're going to have a discussion about this because I talked to her daughter Naya the other day, and I told her, I said, you know, you guys give me, last year I had 2 days where I was on my feet for 12 hours. I didn't get a break. Not even 5 minutes to go to the toilet. Nothing. And I told Naya this recently. I said, you guys got to stop working me. This is hard on me. I don't have time to sit for 5 minutes between each of these groups. I can't go to the bathroom if I want to because as soon as I finish one group, bam, here comes the next one. And I love what I'm doing. I just need them to accommodate me a little better. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, that's not even healthy. I mean, that's not.
No, and it would explain why I get sick right at the end of after doing 4 groups.
Yeah.
Because apparently she thinks I'm not drinking enough, which probably she might be right. I probably aren't, because I had only brought 1 bottle of water day before yesterday when I did the 4 tours, and I had already finished it about halfway through tour number 2. So 3 and 4, I had no water.
Well, but if it's not giving you enough time to go to the bathroom or anything, how do you hydrate?
Exactly. So they're gonna work with me a little bit, because I told Naya, I said, I'm not getting younger, I'm getting older, and so things are different with my body. That, you know, when I first moved here 12 years ago, oh, what's today's date? Tomorrow, you guys, 13 years living in Greenland.
No way.
And I'm working on my anniversary, so that'll be fun sharing that with all the tourists.
So are you happy with your choice to move over there?
Oh yeah. I have no regrets. I mean, there are times that, you know, I miss things about my home, you know, the United States, but there's a lot of things I don't miss about it either. And you know, every now and then I'm like, I wish I could go home and go buy blah 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 and then send it over here, you know.
You know, it is funny until, like, I used to travel for work, and I used to go to Germany and Italy and different places. And man, until you go to, you know, some of those countries, you don't realize how spoiled we are in the US.
We are so spoiled. I didn't realize that until I started living here. And when I go to the store, I'm like, okay. You know what the hardest part for me was when I would go to the meat department in Bruceton, because they cut all their meat European style. So it's totally got me foobarred on what part of the cow any of that comes from. Nora, come here. Come back in here, or I'll put you back in with your brother. Come on. Good girl. Yeah, it's interesting because the first couple of years I couldn't even read Danish, you know, inside the stores. Now I can read a lot of the Danish. Like today, the reason I had my phone out is because there was a piece of meat in the store, and I'm like, I could see that it said beef at the very beginning of the word, but the rest of the word didn't make sense. And then when I translated it, it said beef rope. So I'm like, what the heck is beef rope? So now I have to go online and figure out what the Danish definition of beef roast. I have a feeling it's either a beef tongue or it's something to do with the chest muscle, maybe, which would be where you would get sorry, brain fart here. What's the name of that? It's not brisket.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Doesn't the brisket come from the chest?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Doesn't it like
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I don't know why my mom never bought brisket. Maybe it was too expensive when she was raising us. I don't know. Chuck was always her go-to for big family meals when she wasn't making spaghetti or something else. Okay, I'm backtracking to see what I missed.
Yeah, I have a feeling we've missed a lot of chat.
One of the things that people say here in Greenland is if you make it past the second year, you're a keeper. So I guess people leave because they can't handle it. Because one of the things a tourist asked me the other day is, does everything move in slow motion here? And I said, yes. And I've had to adjust my mental, the way I think, to that, because sometimes no one gets in a hurry to do anything.
That makes me laugh because when I moved from Virginia to Phoenix, everybody kept saying, well, it's West Coast. It's a much different pace. It's a much slower pace. That's
Yeah.
not true in Phoenix. Phoenix is very DC East Coasty. I mean, it'll run you off the road in a heartbeat if you're not doing 85. But when you start going out in the state, it is funny how much slower the pace is and how much more chill people are.
Yep. And one of the other things I've noticed is when I go home, the loudness of our country. I never noticed it when because we all were raised that way. And then you get away where everything's quieter and you go back and it's like, oh my gosh, I need earplugs in different places because it's so
Look, I got
loud.
the first strip done.
Here, let me pin you so they can have a better look.
She's so good. I can't do all this stuff that she
There we
does
go.
on.
That fabric's gorgeous.
Pretty. Look at all
Yeah,
the
it
colors.
is.
I love this maroon one or purplish
Yeah, me
one.
too. It's
And
beautiful.
that almost looks like little lobster crabs or something. I
Yep.
think it's birds. Hmm.
So, someone said loin. No, there's a different word for loin. I have a feeling it has something to do with, maybe it might have been I tried to look at it, up close, but they had it inside of a black plastic thing that they wrapped it in.
Right.
And so you could only see the top, but not, the sides of the meat. And it whatever it was, it looked really long piece, but it wasn't tenderloin because they call loin, I forget what they call it in Danish. And I can actually read those. So anyway, it was a weird translation. I'm like, okay, that means when I get home, I'll have to do a better investigation of what it means. Because every now and then I get hung up on a Danish word and I'm like, oh, come on. Why does it translate to something weird in English? Nancy says the brisket is lower in the chest or breast of the cow. I was thinking maybe that's where it came from. There is no beef in the intestines. Ah, she's crying with tears. West Coast slower. Laugh out loud. Maybe in rural areas, but definitely not in the cities and suburbs, Shelby says. Iceland is the same way. Slow and steady. Loved it when we lived there during my husband's military duty. That's what Denise said. Yeah, Iceland, I've spent a couple nights in Iceland when I was traveling, and it reminds me of this little European town, and it's so pristine and clean. It's amazing. And they really live, a simple life like what Greenlanders do here. Let's hope I'm putting this in the right direction again.
So, Katie, what's the weather like in Greenland?
When I first moved here, you would have snow starting in October, and it would run from October to May. February and March would be the worst time, especially March. It was like, why so much snow in March? The weather gets really volatile, I guess, when it's going from one season to the next. Oh. And the lake would be frozen all of that 9-month period. Now, the last 4 years now, we're not getting any snow from October until almost the end of January. The lake is not freezing until almost the end of January. We're getting a lot of rain, and the temperatures will be around between 35 degrees Fahrenheit to 18 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh
but when the wind comes from the north, it's called a bitter rock, and the bitter rock will drop the temperatures minus 54 degrees Celsius. So you'll have to look that up for Fahrenheit. It's crazy, and it can last for days. The wind is like a hurricane, only it blows for days, and the local Inuits call it the snow eater, because what it'll do, it'll either make all the snow disappear altogether completely, or it'll move mass amounts from one spot and put it onto something else. Nancy says beef rope is beef flank. Oh, is a cut of beef that comes from the lower abdominal muscles of a cow and has a long flat shape. Yeah, that's what it looked like. They had it folded in the packaging. That's interesting. So how do you cook flank? Wow, isn't flank steak supposed to be tasty?
Yeah, I think we have, but I think it's also tough. So it's got to be tenderized and cooked just the right way, I think.
Oh, okay. Because I haven't really tried to cook a flank steak or flank meat at all. Because usually you don't even see it in the store. Do you hear my whiny butt over here? She's still whining.
Oh, I miss having dogs, though. I will tell you, they're such companions.
Well, I asked to be put on a waiting list for another Dachshund. We were talking about getting a Bergamasco.
Right.
But after a little time of me and Nikolai talking about it, the Bergamasco weighs about, well, the adult male can weigh about 70, 75 pounds, which is just a tad smaller than Coda. But the female can weigh about 55 to 60 pounds. But the thing is their hair, when the hair starts to mature, it turns into dreadlocks. So if you have a dog that loves to play in water, that's a problem. Because if you don't take care of making sure all of that's dry, it could start to smell bad. And Nikolai felt like it was more effort to have to deal with that when we don't have a groomer or a veterinarian or anything else. It's easier to just go ahead and get another Dachshund, especially since we enjoy them so much. Because when I need to get the puppy before Coda passes, or try to anyway. We're on a time clock right now with that.
Well, and I was still saying it's not, again, you don't have the resources like you would in the US where you
No,
just
exactly. So
literally.
So you're probably wondering how I have a German Shepherd and a Dachshund. So Coda came from the Czech Republic, and originally I was trying to get one from a German breeder, and I'm very aware of the bloodlines that started in Germany and who started the bloodline and everything. So and those dogs are exceptionally driven and smart, and they don't have hip problems, and they don't have that overbreeding that makes the hip slope too much. Stop. She is really demanding tonight.
Yes, I like that. It's interesting. I think that means she's a little spoiled.
She is, but she's always been vocal from the moment I got her. So anyway, I found out that the breeder in Germany, I talked to his wife, and apparently he passed away. And so she sold off most of the breeding stock, the Qaqortoq breeding stock. But she did tell me, she says, there's a lady in Czech Republic who has some of my breeding stock. And I'm like, okay, is there a way to get a hold of her? She says, yeah. So she gave me her phone number and an email, and we started talking back and forth. And when she had a litter of pups, and I saw what she had, I said, well, I want a male. And we negotiated and everything, and it went really well. And but with Europe has a law that says that puppies cannot travel by air until they're 20 weeks old. So basically, you miss out on the first 3 months of your dog's life.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah, so any of the smell of puppy and everything is already gone.
Yeah.
And it's the same. Yeah, but it was okay. You know, I just was set on having another German Shepherd. And then with Nora, I was on two Dachshund groups. When I brought Ichi with me, and Ichi was a mix. She was 3/4 Dachshund, mini Dachshund, and 1/4. I'm thinking she was maybe her dad had Jack Russell Terrier in him or something, and because her ears were shorter and they pricked up like a Jack Russell Terrier, and she acted part like one and part like Dachshund. It was pretty funny. And I asked someone, I said, does anyone recommend any breeders in Europe? And if you do, why do you recommend them? And a young woman in Russia, she lives in Moscow. She had some beautiful Dachshunds, and they're from a working line, but she also shows the dogs. And I talked to her for a while, and I explained how I'd lost Ichi, and I told her that I wanted another female that was black and red, like what you see with Nora. And she says to me, she says, you do realize there's 1% chance of you getting what you want with that color, because there's so many new colors of Dachshunds these days. And I said, well, we're willing to wait. And we waited about, I think, 18 months. And then she had a litter that was going to be born in December. And when they were born, I get a message on my message. She says, this must have been meant for you too. And I said, what do you mean? She says, my litter was just born and there's only one female that's black and red. The rest of the puppies that were in the litter were all dapples and stuff.
No way.
But she says, I'm going to forewarn you, this litter is very, very vocal. You hear how vocal she's being. She was like that from the moment she came into the world. I want you to come over here and play with your ball and go to sleep. Go on, get your ball. Get your ball.
Joy wants to know if I'm up in Shady Pines today, and tell her, yeah. She says I'm missing. Because John's MIA. Where is he?
Oh, now you can you see him now, Joy? I see you. I forgot to unpin you. I get it. It's like, okay. Yeah, I just fixed it, Joy T. Sorry about that. And let me move this up so we're together in case you have to, if you're using your phone. Stop. Let me go get her a thing to chew on. Maybe she'll stop.
All right. So yes, today I am up in Shady Pines enjoying a nice weekend. I had not got to be back up here since July 4th. And it's just funny because I'm still getting used to having a park home and, being able to get out of the city and do things. And I did realize, like, the first thing I needed to do when I walked in here was, because I'm just one of those, I don't like to think of myself as a clean freak, but I guess I do have things that I just like. I had to dust everything. It was like, oh my gosh, like everything was just dusty. It was like, okay, no, so let's go get the little dust thing out and just wipe all my tables down and that. Because, Lord have mercy, one of the neighbors could have stopped over and said, this guy doesn't even know how to take care of his house. So
that's hilarious. That is too funny. I just gave him a dental stick.
Aw. And now she's all good. What's up with that, Mom?
She's down there munching on it. Sounds like Coda already ate his. All right, let me see what's going on in the chat. Okay. Hi, Jess. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. Okay. Shelby says, oh, I can see that, flank steak. And then Joyce says to Nancy, I think they use that in Mexican food, which I think you're right on that one. And then Jess says, I'm doing good. Just finished food prep for the week. I'm ready to sew. So much to finish. Okay, and then Jess says, for the week, you're amazing, says Joy T. Jess says, yes, I make all the mains so I don't have to think, laugh out loud. Kids and all the extras take up so much time, I barely see my husband passing in the night. Uh-oh, sounds like my husband. John, are you up in Pine Valley today? I think so by those windows. And then Katie's asking where John went. I think it was mostly because I didn't split the screen again. And let me see here. Now, Shelby says we can see it now. I had him pinned. Sorry about that, guys. Joy T says, I'm noisy. Got to see what everybody is doing. That's okay. I forgot. Y'all have to remind me to turn it off because that's one of the failures of my lives. I forget to turn the pin off. I always forget. No, you know, if I did, John, I'll be right back. Maybe I need to let her go out the door.
All right, no problem.
Come here, Nora.
So guys, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for Katie. And if you have been a subscriber, you still may want to check because every now and then Facebook does like an audit and sometimes they unsubscribe people from our channels. I'm not sure what that's about, but YouTube will tell you they don't do it, but they do it. Or it seems to happen for some reason. And make sure you hit that thumbs up because that does make the YouTube algorithm like us so much better. And so Katie does such a nice job putting things together, and we want to make sure that we're helping support her channel. So I am really happy. Look how these cool colors all coming together. I am really happy. I think I've been doing so much Halloween and Christmas stuff that I was just like, just let me do something different today. So today is something different. But yes, as you all know, if you watch my channel, I absolutely love Halloween and Christmas. And actually, we're getting very, very close to being able to start decorating for those holidays. And Joy, you never talk too much. You keep us motivated and keep us all engaged. So always enjoy all of the chat that comes through while we're trying to sew and think about other things. It's just nice. And we have such a good YouTube family that we can just all enjoy being together and doing whatever we're going to do. So that's what makes this all fun and worth it. So never apologize for that.
She had to do number one, and I'm sure no one wanted to hear that.
Aren't you glad we're all family, Katie, so we could just share everything?
Well, I let them out when I first got home, so she must have. I heard them in there drinking a lot of water. Shelby says, when you're using the pen feature today, the camera focus changed to whoever is talking instead of. Oh, really? So you were seeing me and not him? Okay, you guys, I don't know why that causes that. It's supposed to stay on him. Because when there's only two of us in together, like if I had three, you could spotlight whoever's talking. When are you going to show us your Halloween quilts, etc. when you're finished, John?
Oh, I'll try to, well, I won't be doing that this weekend. They're down in the valley. So I'll try to do that next weekend. I did post, if you follow my Facebook page, Guys Craft 2, I do have some stuff, some pictures posted there. Because I have been trying to post a little bit more on that Facebook page, just because I'd really like to do a live during the week, but I'll be honest, with working full time and everything else, it just really makes it difficult. So I feel like I do get some things done at night during the week, but I don't really get to always hear stuff.
You know, I thought my live went really well last night with the whatever it was I was sewing last night. Oh, it was the Modern Maker box. That's what it was. Because I am an ambassador for that. Mm-hmm. It went really well last night, but then when I went to look at the stats on it, I don't know, man. because I have a pre-record of May, and I did the July box as a live last night. I still have to do June box. I've already talked to Kim because everything got here late because they had sent it and then it disappeared into the mail hell. So they had to resend both of them, so they got here really late. So I went ahead and did the July box, and I'll go back and do the June box. And I was trying to figure out which one would do better, doing a pre-record or a live. So what do y'all think about that? Do you like the lives better than the pre-records, or do you like both of them?
I do a combination of both. I only do the live on Sunday, and occasionally I'll do one on Thursday night. But usually, if I do an unboxing or something, with I'll do those as recorded. Because usually it's just because I'm doing it quicker so I can get on and off. I do appreciate the people watch it and leave comments and that, but
I was proud of myself. I got the whole block made after we did the unboxing. And I did it in 1 hour and 8 minutes. Do you know how unheard of that is? Usually my lives go 2 to 3 hours. I'm trying to not spend 3 hours on a live. It's not that I don't mind. I have fun doing it, but it doesn't help my analytics at all.
Now, I find that usually 60 minutes, maybe 1 hour and 15 minutes, that usually turns out to be the max for me.
Yeah. Stop. You have my hair on your nose. She'll give up in a few minutes and she'll shut up.
Jordan said she likes both, but she enjoys she likes both.
It was changing to John when he talked, and then it changed to you when you talked. Oh, so I have to figure out how to make that not do that. Joy says, you're lucky to have 2 houses. So much more decorations are needed. Who has 2 houses? You do. Oh, wow.
I'm in the park home today, so this is the little vacation house. It's not a very big house, but it's
oh, okay.
Supposed to be my escape out of the heat in the summertime.
Okay, so Lori says she didn't get a notification that we were going to be on. Make sure you're still subscribed, because I discovered that when I wasn't getting notifications for a couple of them, there's 2 things you can check, because I figured out why some of them I wasn't getting. I found a couple of the channels that I follow were, for whatever reason, I was no longer a subscriber, so I fixed that. And then I still wasn't really getting enough notifications for the amount of people I follow. So I went and looked at the settings, and I had set the notification bell to come on, but I didn't. What I should have did, I guess, is put all notifications. And once I did that, I started seeing more notifications coming across my YouTube. Of course, then it saturates my email with it.
Hey, Katie, have you ever been to QuiltCon?
I went this year for the first time.
Oh, so you went to Raleigh?
Yes.
Cool was that?
Were you there?
No, I used to fly in and out of Raleigh all the time when I lived in Virginia. But no, I did not go, especially knowing that Phoenix is hosting it in 25. It just didn't make sense for me to expense it when, basically it's going to be in my backyard.
Yeah, I don't know that my asthma would behave itself in Arizona.
You don't think?
No, not with all that dust.
Now,
I'm not being critical here, okay?
No, I get it.
But I can go to California and it not bother me at all, hardly, which is interesting, which means that when my mother gave birth to me in Charleston, South Carolina, in the Navy base, and like within a few hours, they already saw signs of asthma, so I was basically born that way. But as soon as they went back to San Diego, apparently it was calm enough that I wasn't in and out of the doctor's office with it. But when we moved to Florida, oh my God. Florida is just like especially North Florida. South Florida, we lived close enough to the coast that it wasn't real bad. But when they decided to move up to Lake City, it was like a light switch. It went from being moderately a pain in the butt to trying to kill me.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it was. It's something about up there. I don't know what it is. First off, I think it's because we're totally away from the ocean altogether. And when my mother took me to the doctor when I was in the 7th grade, because a teacher forced me to run around a baseball field and I fell on the ground about halfway because I couldn't breathe. My mom was angry, let me tell you, because that PE teacher wouldn't listen to me saying I have asthma, I cannot run around the baseball field. So when they called her to come and get me to take me to the doctor told my mother, you really need to move to the coast. Her asthma's so bad, she should not be living anywhere inland.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. But when I go to California, it hardly bothers me. And Hanford's inland. I think it takes a couple hours to get to the coast, if I understand right.
It does. It does. And what's interesting is years ago, they talked about Phoenix was one of the best places that you could live, Arizona, because it's dry. And because it's so dry in that here, we don't have allergies like, the rest of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, now I have allergies awful, and something always is impacting my sinuses. And I
Yep.
asked the allergist, I was like, dude, they used to talk on the East Coast, moved to Phoenix. And he goes, oh, that was 30, 40 years ago. He said, the problem is all you East Coasters came out and wanted all the trees and all the stuff they had back east. So you all brought all the stuff out here, planted it, and now ours are just as bad as the East Coast.
That makes sense. When you put things that are not indigenous to that area, it can create secondary problems. That's for sure.
I thought, isn't that funny? You just don't
Yep.
realize how, there's a reason that things didn't, like you said, indigenously grow here.
Yep. You know what I discovered with my asthma? And I didn't realize it until I had moved here. I can trigger my asthma by taking too hot of a shower. Now, my mother, whenever my asthma would be super, super bad, I had my own room because the other two couldn't deal with the smell of my room, because my mother put a hot plate in my room and with a pot of water, and she would put Vicks mentholatum rub in it, and she would bring it to a boil, and that always opened up my all of my breathing passages. Problem with that was it was also putting humidity into my lungs, which seems to be one of the environmental triggers with my asthma.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that hot air was, hot, humid, moist air was a trigger until after I moved here. Okay, we have someone saying check your subscriptions and everything else. And then Jess says she enjoys both, but she tends to watch a lot of replays. Joy says today is a great day for podcasts. Mike and Jean will be on tonight on Jean's channel, I think. And then Lori says, thanks, Joy. Shelby says, I'm planning to go to QuiltCon in 2025. Cool, right. Shelby. Joy says she's going to Raleigh in 2026. So am I. As long as nothing happens between now and then. Shelby, do you live near Arizona? And Shelby says, nope, I live in Seattle. And Joy says, oh, okay, closer than I do. I need to drive to QuiltCon because I will probably buy a car full of goodies.
Oh my goodness.
I behaved myself with spending money in QuiltCon. My husband was like totally shocked. You didn't hardly buy anything. Nope. Why not? I said, because, we're going to be here a while. And if I go and wipe out all our money, then we might be in trouble,
I have tried really hard to be so good and try to not buy anything new for a while, especially, trying to hold off more for like Black Friday, just because Lord knows I don't need nothing. And so, but De La Rosa, of all places, had a live the other day that I happened to see on Facebook. And they showed like a Hot Wheels panel with all the flaming, flames coming out of the back end and all that. It was a really cute kit.
Oh, that's cool.
unfortunately, my grandson is huge into two things. He wants to be Spider-Man and drive Hot Wheels. And so
Nice.
I had to buy that for him for Christmas. So
I really enjoyed getting to meet Shelby at QuiltCon. She was there this year.
maybe I'll get to meet her if she's coming to Phoenix.
Yeah, she's a really great person. I met a lot of nice people, and I got to see Yvette, and it was so cool meeting her face to face.
I'm hoping to have some type of meet and greet.
That was
Since I'm
good.
local, if we can figure something out, because like BBMK, who follows my channel, actually she came to the quilt show that our quilt guild did. So I got to
Mhm.
meet her because she lives in Phoenix. And then the store that we all love had Christmas in July, and we both ended up shopping there. And her poor husband, he just tries to play along so nice and just be so patient with her because I guess he always brings her. But
Mhm.
I think he's like, oh my God, this guy's just gonna make it worse. He's gonna have you spending all kinds of money. But she's such so it's fun to get to meet some of our family off of YouTube.
When we went to the Lego convention, I couldn't believe how pricey everything was in there. We're better off to go to the Lego, uh, what is it? Legoland. Yeah.
Was that in Raleigh?
No, it was in Kissimmee in Florida.
Okay.
But
Kissimmee.
he really enjoyed it though.
Do what?
I didn't hear what you said.
I was gonna say you said Kissimmee. I thought that was cute because I'm from the South, so we call it Kissimmee.
Yeah, it's not Kissimmee.
I
It's
know.
Kissimmee. A lot of us play around with that word.
I still say quesadilla too, because I figured if they put all them letters in, they meant us to use them.
Yep, I hear you on that one. So my back is going to be to the screen for a minute. I'm going to go press all of these half square triangles.
Cool.
And before I do, wait a minute. Shelby says, absolutely, was so happy to meet you, Kate. Yeah, we had a lot of good time. We sat and talked a long time. Several of us was standing and sitting right in the middle of the open area QuiltCon, and we were having a good time just standing there talking and laughing and taking pictures. It was fun.
Well, because it's not the same, I am so fortunate because where I live, I literally within 5 miles have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quilt stores. And
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can get just about anything you could possibly imagine because I mean, literally right down the street, any direction is a quilt store. And of course, most of the folks know me because I spend too much money, but it's not the same. I mean, like, I don't know, the folks I've got to meet on YouTube and that I've gotten to learn about and chat and that it's just, I don't know, it just seems so different. And, it's such a non-judgmental
Yeah.
group to be with. It's just, I don't know, it's just so much fun. And I guess life's too stressful and crazy anymore for me at work. So it's just nice to have such a fun group just to be with.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It was so cool. When you meet someone face to face, after having talked to them a long time, you discover they're who they say they are, and you feel comfortable and safe. The
And it's funny
interesting,
because you're at a convention, right, with all these strangers, all these people, but
yeah,
yet we're all there for the same interest. We
yeah,
all share and like the same thing. And um, it's just fun to see the work that other folks are doing. And I mean, you see Ian's channel and Becca and, like Russ and those folks,
mhm.
and they start getting to see, because I've seen their quilts on YouTube, but to actually be able to see some of their quilts in person would be just so awesome.
I got to meet the tattoo artist that was there. I think he's the tattoo quilter. That's his name. I
Oh,
actually met
really?
him. He was there at QuiltCon. And I walked up and I said, I know who you are. He says, says, I don't know who you are, but you must watch something that I'm on. I'm like, a long time ago when I was watching, I still watch her, that quarter shop, Kimberly.
Yep.
She had the tattoo quilter. She had him on one of the lives.
Oh, no kidding.
Because he had designed something that was a sew along, I think, and they were making kits. I can't remember exactly what, but if you go through there, you'll probably see what they talked about. And I told him, I said, that's how I know about you, because you were on her live one day. He's like, oh yeah, I remember when I did that.
It's funny.
Really nice.
I buy stuff from Kimberly Jolly because I like the back quarter shop. She runs some really good specials.
Yeah.
She gives us nice free patterns, but I just can't watch her quilt because it just frustrates me because she is such a perfectionist. It's like, oh, girlfriend, I would have been thrilled if I could have got it that way. And here you're ripping it back out because, it's like, no, I can't do that. It just hurts me. I don't know.
I feel the same way. I think she spends too much time preaching about perfection when she should, use that. Well, this is just my opinion. I think it's what's the right way to put this? When you want newbies to see us quilting and making things, you don't want to be preaching about it's got to be perfect. What
Right.
you want to talk about is teaching consistency and going with the flow and giving yourself grace while you're learning. That's what needs to be said about it. Not I'm going to rip it out because it's messed up.
And I would never take away from her. She's a good
She's good at what she
instructor.
does, though. Yeah.
And
And she has beautiful beautiful quilts. Oh my God. I want to be like her, when it comes to how well that she makes them. But I'm not about perfection though, so
no, life's too short for me. It's like, girlfriend, just no, life's too
yeah. You know what? I took these blocks out of and now I got them all mixed up. Now I got to figure out how I had them. Ah. Okay, let me see if I can fix this problem. So I know what I've been doing. Okay, we'll put you there. And you over here. I think that's the wrong direction. Nope, it's the right direction. Okay. If I don't watch out, I'll put this in the wrong direction. Me being angle challenged and all. I really had a good time with our American comrades this past 2 days ago, because all the people that were in the 4 groups that I took through the tannery, there's an advantage to getting an American ship here because they drop money like it's nothing. So I ended up with $145 for 3.5 hours work.
No way.
Yeah, I did. It was tip. And I don't have to claim the tips or anything that I get. We don't have to do that. So it's not taxed.
That's
And what I generally like to do with that money is if I don't need it, I'll hang on to it and use it for when I go to the United States.
Oh yeah, because it's US dollars, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I don't have to worry about getting rid of it or,
What do you all have in Greenland, Katie?
Danish kroners.
Okay.
They're still controlling that part.
So they didn't go on the euro.
No, and I don't think, no, and I'll tell you why. Greenland used to be part of the European Union until how you've heard me talk about this on and off about how other countries come in to second world or third world countries for the resources, and then the locals don't get anything from it.
Right.
And they end up poor and destitute while the people who took their resources is making millions off of it. So when they weren't in the European Union for very long, because the first thing the European Union tried to do was say, well, we're going to control your fishing rights. And we're going to have boats coming over there from Europe to fish your waters. And it got the locals here up in arms about it. And they removed themselves from the European Union because they were giving up their fishing rights. And, from my point of view, I don't blame them.
Oh, yeah.
That's why the people still are saying no to our uranium mountain, which happens to be just 2 hours up the road or up the water from us. And I told Nikolai, they crack that mountain, we're leaving, because I'm not going to want to drink the water because we're so close. And I think they'll ruin that whole area by doing that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Greenland needs the money to do infrastructure, because their future goal is to become totally independent from Denmark. That's their future goal. Right now, they're partially autonomous, but they want total freedom from Denmark. But to do that, you've got to have good infrastructure and a good income coming in.
Yeah. Doesn't come cheap, does it?
Joy was asking who we're talking about. We were talking about the tattoo quilter. Oh, and we were also talking about that quarter shop.
Kimberly Jolly.
Yeah, Kimberly Jolly. I love their patterns. I love their shop. I can order fabric from there, and the shipping is very affordable. And so I spend most of my money either with Fat Quarter Shop, Cotton Cuts, or Missouri Star. And I usually I save up money for November, because Missouri Star puts lots and lots of batiks on sale, and they're not the ugly batiks, they're the beautiful ones. And I'll spend quite a bit of money, because when you get 30% off, 40% off, 50% off, or you can buy 2 yards of batiks for $20 or less than that, depending on, some of it was $15 for 2 yards. You can't go wrong on that.
Let me tell you, girlfriend, Jenny is not my friend. She has figured out how to spend my money. That woman can sit, every time she sends an email, she goes, I know John's going to buy this. I know she does it. Oh my goodness. I try not to open her email anymore.
I know what you're saying there. It's, it's easy to spend $300 or $400 when you find that big of a sale. And I've done that before, $300 bill. But the shipping on, when it gets up to around $300, it sits right around $45 shipping. How can you go wrong on that? You can't.
No, especially for overseas like that.
Exactly. In the United States, the shipping is way lower.
No, that's what I'm telling you. Jenny's got my number. She knows every time she puts something on sale. And maybe to make it worse, the other day they had Tula Pink on sale.
Uh-oh.
So, and I have just gotten into Tula Pink, so I don't have that much. But again, I've learned, I just quit opening her emails, because it's like, I can't do this. I've got to stop.
You control yourself, right?
So Russ from Quilt Meets World texted me and said, did you see Jenny's email today? They've got Tula Pink on sale. You'll want to make sure to get one. I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? I'm trying so hard not to. So it makes me bad.
By the way, you owe me a story in private. I'm just saying. You forgot to tell me.
I did?
Yeah, you never did get around to telling me about it.
I'll have to tell you sometime.
Yep, because you have it. I'm like, I thought of that earlier today. I'm like, wait, he never told me what, about what the deal was.
keep everyone in suspense. That's the key.
Yeah,
Why they always want you back.
you have to, to keep. I wrote on my Facebook about because the fifth I have so many anniversaries I have to do with Greenland. It's crazy because we had September's when we started when I said yes to being his girl in 2009. Then in February of 2010, he asked me to marry him. So there's that anniversary. And then in January 2011, we get married. So there's that one. And then August 15th is when I got on the airplane to start my flight to Greenland with a dog in tow. And then we got stuck somewhere, so I didn't arrive the next day like I was supposed to. We ended up spending the night in Iceland, and then we spent the night in Nuuk. And then I finally stepped off the helicopter on the 18th. So there's that anniversary too. So I'm wondering how many people get confused on my Facebook when I start putting, this is an anniversary, it's crazy how I don't know how I keep up with all of them, but this place is so beautiful and peaceful and insulated, and I just can't say enough about it.
But that's what's important, right? If that's where you feel home now, and if that's become your happy place, that's what matters.
Yeah, I didn't really, for I don't know, maybe half of the 13 years, I don't think I was calling it home yet, but now Florida's not home anymore. Florida's just a place to go see my child.
I get that. Arizona's home to me. I am so happy here. I love everything about it.
I miss Florida. I mean, I miss things about Florida. I miss the palm trees, and I miss the thunderstorms and the trees, and big trees. I'm not talking about little trees. There's things about it I miss. Of course I do.
Mhm.
But there's so much over here that gives back too, that kind of helps soften that blow of missing those things.
Well, each area and each place brings something different to the table, right?
Yep.
So I mean,
Yep.
it's interesting when you come out here because people talk about, well, we do desert landscaping. Well, that just means we put rock everywhere because it's too expensive and hard to grow grass and that out here. So it's either that or artificial turf.
You should be able to use indigenous plants there that doesn't eat up water.
Well, we do. So, I mean, so we put rock in for our, we put mulch or pine bark in that on the East Coast. Here, we just use rock, which is kind of crazy, right? Because then it gets hot and it just helps keep everything else hot.
Yep.
But we have, we've got cactus and we've got, many different species of palm trees and all that. And, it's cool. And it's funny coming out here, I've gotten so used to it now that when I go back east, I forget about how green the East Coast is and all that. But even in Arizona, now that I'm up in the northern part, up here it gets snow, it gets cold. It's just so different. So, we have some of that same variety in our own state. It's just a matter of what part of the state you're in.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when I'm in California. I drove up to Sacramento to a quilt show up there while I was there in 2022, and between Hanford and the exit that you go off of on your way to Sacramento, everything's by midsummer it's dry and dead looking. But when you pass that exit and you get like 20 miles on the other end of it, everything's green again. And I was like, what? I told Chris, I said, why don't you guys move to Sacramento? It's too expensive up there, Mom. That was her answer. I'm like, it's expensive in California, period. What are you talking about?
Right. I can't imagine. I used to work for a company and have to travel to California. And I remember stopping to get gas and it might be $7 a gallon. And I'm like,
yeah,
we're paying $3.50 or, $3 back home, which I thought was expensive. And
yep.
how people can survive in California, I really don't.
Well, while I was there this time in the U.S. this year, Georgia had the cheapest gas. North Carolina was moderately, but my God, Florida's gas prices were crazy.
Oh, really?
Yes, it was insane.
I think a lot of
And
that has.
I asked Lynette about it. She says, "Mom, I don't know."
I think a lot of that's to do with tourism, though.
Probably.
All the people driving in and out of the state. So
We also get all, don't no one get insulted here, but we also get all the little snowbirds into Florida.
I do in Arizona.
Especially the ones that live down in the villages. That place is beautiful though. When you go to the villages, they have so many nice things there, but it's all retirement village, most of it. And they always have something going on there. But the cost of living there is crazy. But the cost of living in Florida has always been crazy. I mean, when I took off from Lake City when I was 20, 20 or 21, I think. Well, I was old enough to drink, so it must have been 21. And I moved to Kissimmee, an apartment, in Lake City, a one-bedroom apartment was $650, and I couldn't understand why that was. But it was worse in Kissimmee. But if you went to Orlando, it was even worse than that. And that was back then, so I can't imagine what it costs now.
No, I tell you what, you sometimes sit back and wonder, how are my kids ever going to afford anything? How will they ever have,
I
what
don't
we.
know. That's a very excellent question, John. And that might be why you're seeing multi-generational houses. But I've also seen it even when I was young, in my early 20s, I had friends that were still living at home in their 20s because they couldn't afford to pay an apartment price based on a minimum wage job. Y'all want to see the center of my block? Who wants to see the center of my block? And let me backtrack to see what I missed here. Well, now that I got this part done, let me see here. Joyce says, no, Shelby says, Christopher Thompson is so nice. I got to meet him in the Riley Blake booth. That's that's where I saw him at. Then she says, Lori, sorry I didn't get to meet you at QuiltCon. Yeah, there was a few people I didn't run into. Then Shelby says it's much easier than trying to free motion quilting on a domestic. It really is kind of like drawing. I wish LQS, I don't know what LQS stands for, had classes on it. Shelby says, John, I admit to buying some bolts and 108s this year so I can finish some of my 50-ish quilt tops waiting to be quilted. And Joy says she's getting an order from Jenny tomorrow, John.
See? Telling you, that woman knows how to get us all.
Yep. And then Joy says, and rattlesnakes, lizards, and scorpions. Oh, exclamation mark. And she also says the villages are very expensive. Yes, they are. And then Shelby says the bolts and 108s are from MSQC, Missouri Star Company. Look, you guys, I haven't pressed it yet.
Oh, I love those colors. They really just pop.
Yeah, this is from that stitchit kit. Someone told me when I made the very first block, I got messages telling me it's too busy. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they better not watch my channel. I like busy, loud. I want it out there.
Let's get your face with it, right?
Life's too short to be dull.
Yep. And you need things that's going to make you feel happy when you look at it.
Although it is funny because like for clothing, I much prefer gray t-shirts, gray sweatshirts.
Yeah.
I'm not as flamboyant in my clothing.
Every time I see someone wearing something that's really colorful that looks like it's from Africa, I want one.
Oh yeah.
Because I wonder what would happen if I come walking in wearing one. You know, because they're so cool. All right. So the pinwheel looks okay, don't you? Or do you think the point needs to be closer together? What do you think? I'm sticking you up in front of the camera. I
No,
think it's about as close as I can get it without chopping off something.
I think it's perfect.
Okay. And this is the back of it because I did open seams.
Oh, nice. I do like open seams because they just seem to press and open so nice. But then someone told me the other day, said, make sure you think about when you're doing those that because it does expose the thread more. So you don't always want to do it. And I thought, well, I hadn't thought about that either. So, it's funny. You really do have to think about what design you're doing and how it's going to be used.
Yeah, some long armors don't mind it and others do. I've heard, different comments about a lot of long armors don't like it. But when I took my two quilts to a long armor in California, she never even said one thing to me about it being all open seam. Not one thing.
Hmm.
So maybe it's just according to who the long armor is.
Well, maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yep. And maybe that long armor had run into an obstacle. Maybe the seam wasn't pressed properly when it was open or whatever. I mean, anything can happen, of course. Joy says, very pretty, Katie. I love the color combo. Thank you. Wait till you see the rest of the color combo. And Lori says, looks good. And Joy says, me too, Katie. Those African prints are gorgeous. I want some. I want to make me some cool button down the front blouses out of some. I don't know why I've come to love those bright. I think it's something about living here has opened my eyes to color. When I was in Florida, I spent a lot of time using color in the garden, so I didn't think anything about wearing bright, colorful clothes or making quilts. I didn't even think about making a quilt back then, to tell you the truth. And if I'd have stayed in Florida, I don't know that I would be quilting. I would probably still have my horses and be still doing all of that.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yep. I had to find things to do over here because when I got over here, I didn't realize how much time I spent outside with the horses, riding them and racing the one, and gardening and substitute teaching. All of that monopolized most of my time. And then when I got over here, I told Nicola, I'm like, honey, I told him one time, when he first was at sea, he was gone for 6 months straight. I said, what am I supposed to do with myself? And he says, have you been messing around with YouTube yet? Because he'd been after me. You need to watch YouTube. Find something you like. I'm like, no. He says, honey, I'm just saying, go check it out. You might find something there that inspires you. And then go ahead and go for it. And so I watched, I had joined a couple crochet groups over on Facebook. And when that Sophie's Universe started, I'm like, I want to do that. Because, I wanted to do it not because it was because something to do, but it's also because the whole every week that she would introduce something, the next row, it was teaching me new skills that I had never done before. It was really interesting. And then when the mandala came out, it was even more advanced than the Sophie's Universe was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I learned so much just from doing that.
Isn't that funny how we get into things and just don't realize it?
Yep. And there's always someone there in these groups that if you get stuck, they help. Or they'll direct you to a video that shows you how to do this particular thing.
Well, it's funny you say that because the other day, I was watching Russ today because he does his 11Z on Saturday morning, and someone was asking him, it might have been Joy even, if he fussy cut the design he was working on. He talked about the fact that he doesn't fussy cut very often and why in that. And I had to laugh because literally probably last month, I had showed him a design I was working on, and he goes, "Well, that would look good," but he said, "What you might want to think about doing is fussy cutting, that block or something." So I had to, text him and say, "I don't know what that means. I don't know what fussy cut is." And so, poor guy, he tried so hard to explain it to me, and it was like, but nobody makes you feel stupid here. We're all learning. It's all new, and it's just a term I'd never heard.
Yep.
And it was nice, but it was funny today. I thought, oh, I know what fussy cutting is.
Yep. Now you do. And I did my first fussy cut on that live last night. Or well, I had already cut everything to start the live last night, but it's the first time I've even done a fussy cut.
Oh,
And
no
I was
kidding.
pretty happy with how it came out. Because the Modern Maker box for July had all directional fabric in it.
Yeah, it's funny. The table runner that I just did last week with the girls at Quilt Club, it's one I had cut out of my AccuQuilt. It was that new Dasher pattern, but one of the borders was plaid. And
Wow.
so the girl in the store was telling me, well, I gave you a little extra because, when you working with a plaid, you got to do blah, blah, blah. And I was like, girlfriend, I don't have a clue what you're talking about because I tend to avoid plaids and stripes and that just
Yep.
because I don't feel like I've got enough experience yet.
I feel that way too.
So how long have you been quilting, Katie?
I started making quilt blocks in 20 when I started getting because when I first started out it was 2018 and I signed up for a Sew Sampler box, a Cotton Cuts Classic box, a Sweetwater Quilt Label subscription, and what was and then the following spring of 2019 I signed up for my first PMQ, which was Stratford.
Okay.
And but in the meantime, while I was doing all that, I was learning how I had bought a quilter's planner calendar, and inside the calendar, and I still have it because it has block patterns in it. And I was just taking some random fabrics I had in the sewing room and making those blocks, and I was just practicing how to make the blocks and how to make them look good, while I was learning. And let me tell you what, my Stratford, because I was so new to these pre-cuts and trying to learn how to be consistent while sewing on a little Singer Talent, which was driving me bananas because it kept eating my triangles. The needle would push it down in the hole, which was frustrating. So my Stratford, it may not look like a hot mess on the front, but on the back it does. But it was a great way to learn. And what I really discovered was if I stay consistent, if it's not quite a quarter inch, or if it's not, because I don't understand scant quarter at all, and why do I need to even know how to do that anyway? And as long as I do the same thing throughout the whole process of making the quilt, and it turns out by doing that it still came out the way it was supposed to.
Isn't that crazy?
Someone asked me a question.
Oh, yeah.
Katie, what is going on with your sewing room? Still waiting for them to finish. We're waiting for them. Well, they got the inside pretty much done, but they haven't painted the outside yet. We're waiting on that. And I know I should be in there starting on the inside, and the reason I haven't is because I've been working my butt off this week, tourism, and it's not going to get any better until probably about the third or fourth week. Things will slow down in September, so I'm going to just wait until I'm not having to work my butt off so hard. Because when I'm doing the tour guiding, it literally wears me out, especially when she gives me back-to-back touring. And that's why we've had this discussion this week that they're overworking me without giving me breaks. And so if I have to, like this past week, I had to get up 4 days in a row where I was up at 5:30 in the morning, which Most of you probably know already that I'm not a morning person because I don't sleep at night. Or I might sleep only an hour or two. The longest that I can sleep is about 4.5 hours.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and me and the doctor have been having some discussion about that. She says, "What is it?" I said, "Pain's one of them, some of it, and the other is just I can't get my brain to shut off." And I've tried everything except for sleeping pills. I've never done sleeping pills. And I really don't want to ask for sleeping pills because I already take a one of my pain medications is I think it might be an opiate, I believe. And and I'm really frugal about using that. I don't take any of it during the daytime at all. I only take it at night. And it takes care of one type of pain from those prolapsed sticks. The rest of it, there's like 3 different pains I have in just going down my leg. And it only takes care of one of them. And they wanted to put me on, I don't know, it's not Wellbutrin, it's something else that they use for pain, gabapentin. And for a little while I was on the gabapentin, but I was constantly sweating because of it. It's like it triggered my menopause.
Oh, wow.
So I stopped taking it because I didn't like the side effect of it. I'm like, I'll just have to deal with the pain. All right, we're going to put that down there because I don't want to mess this up. We'll put this one, and someone said something else. Hi, Tammy, how are you? No, the trampoline's still sitting there. And that's not the half of it. Oh my gosh, y'all don't want to get me started on her. Because now she went and got herself a dog. And the dog is running loose and not being secured. But I'm not going to give her a hard time or nothing. I did go and get on to the kids about not leashing the dog because she was over in our yard messing around. And I didn't want to suddenly come out the door with mine and there end up with somebody getting a little hostile with their dog. You know what I mean? But anyway, as soon as I start on this, so here's my plan of attack for the sewing room. I have been in there messing around and doing stuff. I cleaned all of my shelves but one, and that one is over on the other side where all that glass is at. So I haven't got to that one yet. And then I cleaned up the area that was where the window was and next to the windows on both sides. I did do that. And I moved the shelves back against the wall, cleaned the shelves, and started trying to reorganize some of my stuff that didn't have glass on it so that, I didn't have to deal with it. And I did look at the stuff that was behind the plastic, because some of my shelves have I put plastic covering on the outside to keep the dust down. That was a godsend because it kept glass off of anything that was covered by that plastic covered little, because you can lift it up to get things in and out of it. That was a good idea what I had done because that kept it from getting glass on that too. But the cutting table, oh my gosh, it's just a mess because it's full of glass, and every time I move something I find more glass. And I have discovered that every time, here we go. Every time I move something and I clean it and then I walk out of that room, some of the little tiny shards sticks to my clothing. And then I find little shards laying on the floor in the kitchen or in the bathroom, and I'm like, we have migration of glass.
You've got all them little babies in the house running around. You gotta be
Exactly. So I have to be really, really careful. Pamela says, stay away from gabapentin. It's a bad thing to come off of. Yep, I agree with you. It took me a while to come all the way off of it, but I came off of it. And I don't want to be, they tried to get me to go back on it recently, and I'm like, no, we're not doing this. I absolutely refuse. I didn't like the side effects. That's why I stopped taking it. The Tradolin at least doesn't have side effects that I can tell. It kills the one pain, which, causes part of my sleeplessness. But you can easily abuse it too if you're not paying attention.
What's all
Since I
that?
don't have
You
an,
gotta be so careful. Any of that medicines they give
Yep.
you.
and I don't have how some people some can get addicted to things really easy. It's like it's in their DNA. And my dad was a huge drinker, and I always had concerns that maybe, because his dad was a drunk. I mean, so I often wondered if this addiction with alcohol wouldn't pass down to us girls, but it didn't. I mean, none of us really have a desire to drink hardly anything. Once in a blue moon, I'll drink a shot of Crown or vodka and orange juice, but it's so far. I couldn't tell you the last time I'd done that. I think I had some Crown one night on New Year's when I was running that 12-hour New Year's. How many of y'all remember me drinking shots of Crown?
But did you do a live for New Year's?
Yeah, I did a 12-hour live.
Oh my gosh.
And I actually survived the whole 12 hours.
So I'm doing one for Labor Day here in the U.S.
Oh, that's cool. I'm going to have to come hang out with you.
But we're only doing a couple hours. I'm doing 8 to 11. We're doing a so long. We're doing the Mazed pattern by Villa Rosa.
By who?
Villa Rosa. So
I have some. Speaking of Della Rosa, I have something to show you since you brought that up. I didn't realize that when I was, I do the Cotton Cuts Christmas box.
Yep.
This past year I did the Batiks one, and I did the Notions one. The year before I did the Cotton one, the Batiks one, and the Notions.
Oh my goodness. Cotton Cuts must love you.
But I want to show you what was in that I happen to have on hand, and I didn't realize they were Della Rosa. You said Della Rosa, right? No, Villa Rosa. Sorry,
Villa Rosa.
Villa Rosa. Yeah, I didn't realize that this was the same person or company or whatever that you were talking about. When I got to look into the cards, and I'm like, oh my God, this is what John was talking about. So check it out. These came in the fabric boxes.
No kidding. Oh my gosh, Solar Lake. What a beautiful pattern.
And because the 1 year, and I'll look for the cards. I'll probably send them to you unless you already have them. I'll find them and let you look first. Because I got the cotton box and batiks at the, together the year before, I got double the same cards. So there's this one.
Right.
Here's another one. This one's called Firelight.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And this one's called Tiffany.
Oh, that's cute. It's almost like bricks.
Mm-hmm. This one's called Hypnotized.
I have never seen that one.
This one's really cool looking with
It
that.
is.
Yep. This one's called Hillside Charm, which means you have to use like a
panel.
In the middle. So
Yeah.
the back of it looks like that. See that?
Yep.
And then this one's called Be Unique.
Oh, how cute is that? Yeah, Melissa Milligan did that for Villa Rosa, and I have a lot of her patterns. I'm newer to it, but it's interesting. Oh, look at the bow tie. See again, Melissa Milligan.
Yeah. So I have all these cards, and I'm pretty sure that I probably split these off because I have 2 sets of them. I just need to find the other set. And I can, if you want any of them, I can always mail them to you.
That would be awesome because I am a huge.
I know you're a Villa Rosa fan, so I don't mind sharing.
Well, and the thing is, their patterns are so cheap. Most of them are bigger pieces, so because I haven't got in, so like what you're working on now with those tight little points and all those. Well, I'm just now starting to do those, and so like I've got one more strip, Katie, and I'll be done with this quilt top.
Well, my block's not finished yet. I'm just saying. What time is it?
But that's how quick some of these Villa Rosa patterns go together.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
So I've done all strips today while we've been on the live, and now sewed the strips together, now it's ready for the long arm. Lord have mercy if Gracie ever gets to working.
Yep. You still don't have it fixed?
Oh, it's fixed. I just don't know how to use it. I just haven't spent the time to
Oh. Can you
figure out.
attend some kind of class there to learn how to use it?
They have a local shop had a workshop in April that had the software training and everything, and actually had someone from Grace. The problem was I was still kind of new to my job, so no, it was last October, I think. So I was
Oh,
still
okay.
in my new job, so it was kind of hard for me to take off. And
Yeah.
they would offer it this spring, and they didn't. And so, of course, I can watch YouTubes on it and that. And I think Stephanie stitches. I think Stephanie and I actually have the same setup. And I really thought maybe I'd take a couple of classes at QuiltCon. And they're not offering anything like that at QuiltCon.
For the Grace, you mean, or just long arming?
Just for Grace, for their machines, or for the QCT software that it came that I use with it and all that. It's like, okay, really? Because I mean, that's what would have gotten me to sign up for classes. So it's kind of frustrating.
Maybe when you go to the one in Arizona, you can, because you said you were going to go to the Arizona one, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I already looked up the list of classes. They're not
And they don't have nothing. But I had an idea. Why not? Unless they're not going to be there at all. Are they not going to be there at all?
Oh, I think they'll be there, but it's not.
So what you could do is go and talk to them and say, "Hey, man, I'm having trouble learning my machine," and maybe they happen to have one that's close enough to what you have. Maybe they'll take the time to show you if you ask for a little help. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask.
No, because I've got tons of stuff to do on it. It's just a matter of, if I get 2 or 3 done, I'll get my confidence up and it'll be so different. But you know how it is. Don't do that. It just takes getting the first couple done. It's no different than doing blocks, right?
Joy says, yeah, see, some of them were saying, yep. See, Andrea says she was with me the entire 12 hours. Joy T said she was with me. It was her, Frank, and Robin who hung out the whole 12 hours for that. And hi, Russ, what's up? Look who's here, John.
No way.
Yeah, he's in here. Yep, Russ is here. Hi, Russ. Hi, Katie and John and everyone. I hope we're all having an awesome day. Yes, we are. And then Tammy says, I'm going to do a long live in October to be spooky and finish a Halloween themed quilt top. That'll be fun. Joy says, I have to say those VR cards are prettier colorways on the patterns than what I see now. Oh, interesting. And then Andrea says, I have been here since the beginning, just working and listening and watching while I work on my own stuff. Shelby says, if it's the Grace Company, they are super nice. And yeah, so I would talk to them and see if you couldn't work something out with them. Maybe even, if you can't do it in person, maybe virtual. I don't know.
Well, and they had a like a quilting retreat or something that I had looked at going to, but of course, the week they have it is the week I take my grandkids to the beach. But I will say they are an amazing company because I bought my long arm used from a lady that was moving into an assisted type living. So she didn't have the room for it in that. And I had to call to get the software, put in my name and that. So she had called to let them know I had purchased it. And then when I called to make sure everything got converted over, they were like, well, welcome to the family. We're so thrilled to have you. And, let us walk you through showing you, getting, making sure the software and everything was going to work. And finally, I told the guy, I said, you do understand, like, I bought a used machine. I'm not like, like you all already made your money off this 5 or 6 years ago. And he laughed. He goes, that's not the case. He said, you're still our customer now. And you're our, and I thought, wow, how refreshing that.
Yeah, that's right. That's great. So that's what I would do when you go to QuiltCon if you can't talk to someone.
That's really what I need to do. It's just crazy, but you know how it is working and trying to do other things and then just trying to keep up with all of this. There's so much.
Joy says, speaking of Robin, have you seen her in the chat, Katie? I haven't for a while. I haven't. I hope she's okay. I hope my son is watching this because I asked him to watch. Y'all, speaking of something, I put a poll up there. So if you haven't put your 2 cents in, can you go up there and pick some? Dang. Can you go up there and put a vote on what you like the best? And then right before we hang up, we'll have a look at the stats. Somebody is very restless. Maybe they've spent too much time indoors today. But it's really windy outside, and it feels a little cold to me. If I didn't know better, I'd say our weather is going to change soon. Or it's just being weird right now. We've had so much fog, and to me the fog makes it feel colder. First we were landlocked for months, and then when it finally goes away, we're still having all this chill going on. It's very strange. But we've also had days where it was 80 degrees.
All right, Katie, you ready? I've got.
Yeah. Let me spotlight you or pin you, whichever. Oh, I can spotlight you for everyone. Now maybe it won't switch when I'm talking. That's pretty.
That's cool.
Wow, that looks great, John.
See how quick little Rosa just, this particular together that quick. So, which is great because now I get to iron it, fold it up, take it back to the valley and stack it on the stack with all the other ones that need to be long arm.
How many do you have now that needs quilting?
I think this makes 24 or 25.
Yeah, mine's starting to pile up and you know what? One of them that I really want to have quilted, I can't make a decision on what kind of backing to put on it. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's my Sugary Dew one that I did in 2020. I still haven't found a backing I want to put on it.
I have gotten I only do 108, and so I watch when the 108s go on sale, but I have been buying really kind of wild and crazy backings because it's like, I don't know, I just want when people flip it over to go, oh, I didn't expect that. I'm like, yeah, I'm not putting a dull back anymore.
That's the problem. I haven't found anything that's talking to me yet. Stop. I don't know what you're. No. You have dust all over. She has fabric dust all over her head. Must be on the carpet. I need to vacuum the carpet, apparently.
Yeah, our dogs do get us in trouble sometimes, don't they?
Yep.
All right, take me off the big screen, Katie.
Yeah, I know. Come on. I can hardly. I have a hard time seeing the seams when it's light colored fabric with this dove gray. But, because I'm trying to rip a seam out because I see what happened on the back now. That's why it moved. Ouch. Oh, that really sucked. That's why the seam moved just a little bit, just enough for me like, I need to go fix that.
Okay, you got to put us back side by side again.
Yep. Thank you for reminding me. I like that. That looks like a shark. Is it a shark on your shirt?
Yes. So I bought this at the beach. And years ago, I used to play golf. And one of my favorite golfers in clothing was Greg Norman. And he was known for the shark. So all of his stuff has the shark logo. And when I went to the beach this year down at Myrtle Beach, they actually have a Greg Norman outlet. And I had a ball at the Greg Norman outlet.
Well, it was Shelby just mentioned it. And I meant to mention it because that was what I'm like, I forgot to say something about that shirt. I like that shirt. I don't know who the person is you're talking about, but I like the shirt.
Yeah, because yeah, we had such a good time. Yeah, see, I can see the chat on my TV, but I can't see it over here.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So the design I did was the gold medal design.
Hang on.
Rosa.
There we go.
So that's the design that I worked on.
That's a nice pattern.
And you see how quick it just went together that quick. That's why I like Villa Rosa. But again, I'm not crazy about the design. So it was funny who said something a few minutes ago that the patterns you've got such cute colors and so bright. I don't know that they always. I'm not a fan sometimes of the colors and the pictures they're putting on their products.
And I think when that happens, that sometimes that keeps someone from buying a pattern because they don't like what they use or what they see is not, easy for your eyeballs.
Right, right.
But I definitely should think about making a couple out of those as a sew for my channel or something. I don't know, or just for the heck of it anyway.
Sure.
Because they look pretty simple. I cannot see this. What is the deal here, man? I'm thinking they're supposed to be looking at my eyes again soon, and I hope not. I'm a little worried that they're going to tell me, "Oh, you have more things have gotten a little more clouded in your eyeballs." Oh my.
All right, Katie, you got to take me off the big screen again.
Yep. Here we go. Thank you for reminding me. That's what you're here for. No, that's not why you're here, but you know what I meant.
No. I love the fact that you've got the two cameras. I'm just now getting the second camera set up at home. I still need to get
this camera right here, the one where you see my hand in front of it, that's my old OnePlus 6. And you're like, wait, what? Because this other one, this is a OnePlus Nord. So that phone, the 6, is probably about 7, 8 years old, maybe. And this one is, I want to say this one's getting close to being 4 years old.
Oh, wow.
But I test run this one to see if I can run the camera on it. And as long as I keep the USB power on it, it does. But if you take it off, within 30 minutes, it dies. So it doesn't hold the charge as long as it used to. And that's why he went and bought me another phone, because it kept dying every time I would charge it within an hour or so, boom, it would be dead.
Oh, that's crazy.
Joy says, your colors are so much prettier. I agree. And Joy says, exactly, Katie. And then Joy says, John, are you going to put a border on it?
It doesn't call for one. And so, to be honest, I probably won't. It's got a binding fabric. This is actually the binding fabric that goes on it. I tend to border everything I do. I don't know why. I think it just, to me, it makes everything look finished. So I tend to put a border on stuff. So I've been trying to be better about not everything or every pattern has to have a border. So I'm trying to do better. So we'll see. For today, I'm done with it.
I think I'm going to have to put her harness on her and let her go out the front door and just leave the leash in the door. She must need to go back outside again.
Hey, you may have to take her for a walk, Katie.
I must have to do something because she's being very, you hear her?
I hear her.
She's like, Mom, why don't you go and do what I want?
I think she's saying, we're done, Mom. I've been good. Now you need to come on.
Yeah, but I need to show everybody what I've been working on. I haven't really shown that much. I'm trying to hurry up, but the dogs are being annoying.
You did get one block done.
Yeah, I got the center done. I'm adding the sides on it now. So I'll show that part. Hang on. I'll be right back. I'm going to stick her out the front door.
So Hey guys, don't forget, make sure that you're hitting the thumbs up on the video today for Katy. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So all of those things make YouTube much happier with our channels and that. And we appreciate each and every one of you always being here. But it does help make a difference for us being discovered and um, being able to grow and build our channels.
I'll leave her out there for 5 minutes and maybe she'll do whatever it is it's bugging her. She's hilarious. You know, Dachshunds are hard to, I don't know if anybody else will agree with this. Yeah, he left a week ago, Joy. They're very hard to housebreak to start with. But when you housebreak them, they start telling you. And if you ignore it, then they get loud, and after a while they're like, okay, I'll just do it on the floor.
That'll teach you. I'll show Mom.
Yeah, you ignore me, I'll just do it right there in the middle of the floor. Now, Ichi, when we got snowed in where we couldn't get outside at all because the snow was all the way up to the roof of the house, all the way around 3 sides of the house, it took me a while to convince her that she could use the toilet in the bathroom on paper. She held it for 2 days, and I felt so horrible for her. And then when she finally gave in, she's looking at me like, are you going to scold me? Of course I didn't, because there was nothing, because we were stuck in the house for 6 days before somebody came to the rescue, because he was at sea when it happened. And I had told him that when I talked to him online, I said, honey, our house is buried in snow. He says, what do you mean? And I said, I can only see this much out the bedroom window.
Oh no.
When I opened the front door, there was this sheet of ice in front of the door. It had packed into the front porch. And over here on this door, the back door, it was all the way up above the door.
Oh wow.
It was crazy. And what had caused that was what is called a bitterrock wind, and it had been blowing for 6 days. And basically, remember when I said it moves snow or eats it one or makes it go away? We had so much snow, the snowplow used to pile all the snow up in front of our house. And that pile of snow was almost up to the power line, and the wind moved all that snow onto the house.
That is absolutely crazy.
Yep. So then about 4 years ago, no, maybe longer than that. It's been longer than that. About maybe more like 8 or 9 years ago, I went and I had a discussion with the technic department, and I said, listen, our house is white, and when you pile that snow up that's so tall, there's 2 problems here. One, if I needed emergency services, they couldn't find a house. 2, I cannot climb that mountain with my bad back because I would fall in the middle of it. Heavy people, weight, fall through the snow. Very embarrassing. Let me see if I fix this now, because I hope so. For some reason, it still moved. Oh my gosh. And I'm trying to hurry up so I can finish this block.
No, you're doing good. The big block, what you had done looked really good.
Yeah, that pinwheel is beautiful. Now if I can just get this one particular one to line up like it's supposed to. I probably should have started at the front end of it instead of the back end of it. Sewing it. And that's probably why it moved again. Every now and then that happens. It'll just move just like a 1/4 of an inch and set everything off. And you're trying to make those points match so that that doesn't happen. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. I just don't want it hanging off one edge, because then it makes that, where that point is at, it makes it smaller. So when you're trying to line it up with everything else, it might accidentally get chopped off if you're not paying attention.
Oh, yeah. You've got to always pay attention to what you're doing.
Yep. And that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to fix my little mistake. Let me see what time it is. I know we've been here 2 hours already. Yep.
Damn, it's crazy.
I don't know how 2 hours went by, and I don't have this block finished.
I'm like, girlfriend, come on. What's going on? She's been busy today.
Yep.
And it's not like you haven't been working.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I prepped everything ahead of time just so I wouldn't have to waste that amount of time. And still I'm behind.
Yeah, I got a whole quilt top done. What's up, girl?
Yep. I've been slacking.
But that does show the difference in patterns too, right? So all of
Yeah.
mine were straight rectangular cuts in that. And look how much longer it takes for you to do the stars, the points, and it looks great.
Yep. So Joy was asking about Nico being back to sea. They've been back to sea a week, but he's been back to work a week because they called him back a week early. They're like, you have to come back to work a week early. And I'm like, really? Why? I mean, that's not what your contract says you're supposed to be doing. And he's like, I know, babe, but I can do nothing about it. That's what he said.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, okay. And one thing good came out of all this. At least the other crew did take the time to fish a little bit. And they brought in 400 tons of shrimp. So we got a paycheck this week for the first time in almost 3 months. Which made both of us very happy. All right, this is as good as it's going to get. I am not being persnickety any longer with it. Nora. Oh, wait. Be right back. I have to let her back in the house.
Okay.
You mean you didn't walk out the door?
Guys, if you wonder what happens on our channels and what this is, we are always living the life, right? So it is always about one thing, something else going on. So you get to see us just as life happens. So enjoy it.
Oh my gosh, she's so frisky. It's like she's got all this energy. She's like a little spring. You're very distracting.
I liked when she jumped up when we first started and gave Mom all her love.
Yep, that's what she's trying to do now. She opened the door with her nose because I don't fasten it on the leash because then it would stop her from moving.
Oh, so that's
it's
why
one of those retractable leashes. But you don't want to fasten the door because it might stop it from retracting or going out. The only reason I don't put them out on the deck right now is part of our deck got wrecked by the wind. And we have to fix it. So there's like a whole side of it missing. The side of it is totally missing. And so we decided to wait and deal with it next summer. So I've been keeping them out of the deck in the garden, which is giving the garden a rest, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Russ says you can't get much more real than a YouTube live.
Oh, it's about time for me to cook dinner now.
Yep, I think all right, let me show you guys what I'm doing right this minute and then we'll stop. Here's where I'm at. Oops, let me.
Katie, look at those colors though. So is that black on the ends now?
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me pin this a little better so you can have a better look at it.
I really like the black though, is really pulling out the
Yeah, I really like how it does that. So hang on 1 minute while I fix this. Oh, be quiet. Let me get this job done, little one. And then I'll pay some attention to you, okay? What? You're just a crazy dog. She's like, no, I'm not. I want something. Probably need to take him for a walk. I hope no one's being upset by all the racket from the dog. Okay, hang on. I just want to put one more pin on it before we mess with it. All right, now I'll be able to show you what it looks like. Uh-oh, dropped a pin. All right, let me finger press this one side. at least you'll get a good view of one side of it. Okay. All right. This is what.
Katie, I love that. And that's out of that kit, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? But those all that coordinates so well together, doesn't it?
Yeah, it also has a green but this time I decided not to use the green. I was going to use a green earlier, and then when I started with a different block, and I had enough of some of it, but then the rectangles, but then as I got to reading all, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough of leftover rectangles to even make the block. So I chose this one instead. Let me see if I can lay it out on the design board where you can see what it's supposed to finish looking like. It may not be perfect. Hang on a minute. I'll take the pins out of this so it doesn't. All right. Let me get everything basically sort of lined up so you can see the overall look of the block, or how it's supposed to look anyway. Give me 1 second. Okay, hopefully it won't fall off the board. Let me put a pin up here on that thick piece.
I was gonna say, just don't tilt it too crazy. Don't go crazy now, girl. Oh, Katie, that's really, and you figured that pattern out, right? Because it doesn't come with patterns, so you have to go
No, it
back.
doesn't. So there you have it.
I really like that. That's going to be cute when you get that done.
Yep. And I'll post a picture over on my community tab of my YouTube channel. So when I get it finished, and then I'll also put it in my Facebook group. I don't know if you're in my Facebook group, but I know you can look at the community tab.
Yeah, I'll have to join your Facebook group. I'll have to see.
Yeah, it's called Greenland Quilter. There's like 6 questions for you to answer. Just make sure you answer them. Otherwise, the bot won't let you in.
I understand. Believe me, we have to police our groups, don't we?
Yeah, it's sad when you have, people get in. This is what I've been having trouble with recently. Everybody reads the rules, and one of the rules says you cannot post paid advertisements in the group, because that's not what the group is about. The group is about this, not selling t-shirts that are quilty t-shirts. And this one person, or no, I have 2 people doing it. I've had to set theirs so that I have to see what they're posting before I post it. And every time it's the same thing, a t-shirt. And then I write to them and I say, you're breaking one of the rules. This is not a place to sell things. And they ignore what I say to them. So it's like, should I kick them out? Sean kicked one of them out because we have repeatedly said the same thing, because he's my moderator in there. And so is Nikolai. So if he thinks it's too much, he's been doing it too. So I think they joined so they can do that kind of thing.
Yep.
Thank you for joining, Shelby. I want to be more active with it and start doing things like, getting more people to post what they work on, so that when I do have a live, I can share the screen and we can all talk about all their works, I want to get where I can do that. I just haven't quite got there yet. Anyway, that's what it's going to look like when I'm finished.
Yeah.
So let me see here. What have I missed? Russ says something about that power outage Sean had. And then Shelby says, that's looking great, Katie. Very pretty colors. Joy says, no, just like home. And then Russ says, uh-oh, Katie said the walk word. Yeah, now the puppers want one. That's right. That's true. That's probably what started it. You know what else will trigger them? I'm going to spell this out. If you say the word F-O-O-D.
Oh, really?
They know what that means. And she starts talking like no tomorrow, and she won't stop until you feed her. Russ says, Joy, no, it was March last year, my first time live with him. He lost power, and I was on the live all by myself. Oh, no. Then Joy says, Russ, oh, no, I missed that. Laugh out loud. How did that feel? And then Russ says, it was a little startling, but I managed. And Joy says, very pretty, Katie. And then Shelby says, I finally joined the Facebook. Yep. I've repeated that one. Thank you for joining. And then Joy says, now you're a pro, Russ. Glenda says, beautiful. And Lori says, it looks awesome. Okay, so one more time, tell everybody when you do your lives.
So
and when you upload pre-records or whatever, tell them when you do that.
So I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Arizona time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So every Sunday. And then I try to do a upload at least every Tuesday. It usually depends on the mail and how much new stuff came in.
Awesome. Thank you for coming tonight. I have been looking forward to this because we've had hit and misses lately.
I know. It's been crazy, but I had such a good time, Katie.
Yeah, I always have a good time with you too. I really thank you for coming, and I hope we can sew some more during the fall too. As far as my lives, I'm still trying to figure out. I don't know. I'm live tonight. Normally it was Thursdays and Fridays, but this past Thursday I didn't go live, and some probably noticed. But anyway, I'll get back on track, especially when tourist season stops altogether. It'll be a little bit better. But I'm trying to come up with. I'm trying to plan some time to make some pre-records, like do it, or what do you call it, tutorials, or do it yourself, and I thought I would try a few of those as well. Let's see, one more thing before everybody takes off. Let's look at this poll. So the question was, what genre of fabric do you gravitate towards? 7% said 17 to 1800s reproduction. 52% said any genre of cotton, 26% said batiks, and 15% said solids. So there you have it. Thank you everyone for coming to my live tonight and for hanging out with us. Have a great night and a great weekend, and make sure you live, laugh, love, dream, and make something from all of that. Bye everyone.
Have a good one.
All right, let me check out before Whiny Butt starts raising the roof. Are you still there?
I am. She's